Good morning, Dan and Amy. So on Friday, Ireland voted 2-1 to repeal their Eighth Amendment, which was the pro-life amendment to their constitution, protecting unborn life.
And this is what it was like when the votes were totaled and the reaction from the crowd.
Votes in favour of the proposal, 1,429,981.
And they called on people.
Well, that was one side's reaction.
One side's reaction, right? But people came in from, people that had dual citizenship or were out of country, flew in just to be part of the process to take the vote.
Yeah.
Well, then they're cheering, "Yay, we get to kill babies now! Yay!"
Yeah.
It was hard to watch.
Celebratory. Mildred Jefferson was the first black woman to graduate from Harvard Medical School in 1951. Mm-hmm. First woman of any race to intern at Boston City Hospital. She said of abortion, "I'm at once a physician, a citizen, and a woman, and I'm not willing to stand aside and allow this concept of expendable human lives to turn this great land of ours into just another exclusive reservation where only the perfect, the privileged, and the planned have the right to live." Maybe something for consideration. Also, U2 getting rebuked by some conservative erstwhile U2 fans because they supported the repeal of the Eighth Amendment. Rod Dreher had a piece in the American Conservative, and Mark Hemingway, writing Weekly Standard, because Bono is this sort of citizen of the world. I mean, he's admittedly done good work in supporting the capitalism as a means to lifting people out of poverty. He's supported AIDS prevention in Africa and elsewhere. So Hemingway writes, "Killing a child in a mother's womb is a horrifying practice, and that the state would sanction it should in no way assuage our consciences. As much as Christian forgiveness is freely given, there are still higher laws and divine authority that must be respected. If Bono and the rest of everyone's favorite Christian rock band possess enough hubris to support the legalization of abortion in Ireland, maybe they really do think they can play God." Well, we've got something going on in Illinois that is our version of a bit of a litmus test on culture, state of culture here. The forced taxpayer funding of abortion, elective abortion, all 9 months of pregnancy, that was passed by Illinois House and Senate Democrats, signed into law by Governor Rauner. 0 of 73 House and Senate Republicans voted for it. 0 of 73. A measure so extreme, Pat Quinn and legislative Democrats wouldn't do it when they were in charge of all three branches.
And Governor Rauner promised Cardinal Cupich that he would not.
Correct.
Vote for it.
He lied,
He
and
lied
then
to the Cardinals.
And then he's covered his betrayals with lies on this issue, and along with a range, as all his flacks too. The Illinois Republican Party hierarchy.
Did he ever give a reason for why he did it?
He's pro-choice. Just a lie. Just whatever. It's non-responsive to the issue.
But you could be pro-choice like Quinn, but Quinn wouldn't use taxpayer-funded abortions.
I'm sure he would have, actually. I'm sure he's supportive of that. The point is that it was politically not something they wanted to do when they had complete control. If it's the Madigan play. If you wait long enough, at some point you get a Republican governor to do your bidding for you. That's how it's been in Illinois, and this is why the Republican Party is on the precipice of extinction. And so now we're going to see here, as we're up against the clock, May 31st for a budget deadline for a simple majority at the state level. Then it goes to a supermajority if you go into overtime session. And some House Republicans who actually believe and are willing to fight for the things in which they say they believe HB 40 should be repealed. One way to effectively repeal it is don't fund it.
Oh.
Don't appropriate funding. So there's a push on to get a separate appropriation for House Bill 40. And the question is, do House and Senate Republicans have any fight left in them? I know some backbenchers do that are pushing this. Does the leadership? Jim Durkin professes to be pro-life. Bill Brady professes to be pro-life. Will they lead their caucuses in this direction to substantively blunt what Governor Rauner did, because there's not 71 votes for taxpayer funding of abortion if the budget was pushed off past May 31 into overtime when you would need 71 to pass a budget. Do they have any fight left? For more on this topic, we're pleased to be joined by Illinois Right to Life lobbyist in Springfield. He is Ralph Rivera, longtime lobbyist for pro-life and pro-family issues. Ralph, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Dan and Amy.
So how important is this push for the special standalone appropriation for HB 40 that I described?
Well, this is very important because this is the first budget year where they have to appropriate funds for House Bill 40. And as you recall, even though this is House Bill 40 is a program to pay for elective abortions throughout the full 9 months of pregnancy, just like what was done in the Congress where the Hyde Amendment came in to say, well, but we're not paying for these,
Mm-hmm.
And that's what this would have to be done every year. And so we, in pro-life and with the Catholic Conference, have asked legislators, House and Senate pro-life legislators, to stand with us and to oppose adding taxpayer funding for abortions in any budget bill that would have that.
Has anyone asked Bill Brady or other legislative leaders to come forward?
He's been made aware of. We did an open letter initially to all of the senators and representatives, and so the leadership is aware of what we're asking. Right.
And so they're aware of it. We seem to be running into this problem, though, with the pro-life community, where we let people who are rhetorically pro-life get away with not being substantively pro-life when it counts in the General Assembly. I mean, look at what's happened with a bunch of ostensible pro-life legislators who in the Senate who voted for the ERA, for example. What does the pro-life movement need to do to make sure we're connecting what people say to what they do or do not do?
Right. Well, in the vote that some of the had been pro-life senators did on the ERA, where there's a clear abortion connection, they have been rated down on their positions by pro-life, and so we have made a stand, and we've let people know on the other side that we take this very seriously, and they will be. As you know, Dan, my group does a 1 through 4 rating,
Mm-hmm.
and those who voted against us have been rated down, and we will do that, on the House side with the ERA if that's going to come up. So we're looking at, we've sent a message to them that we're not just saying, oh, well, too bad.
Right, and on this too, this seems to me like one of these temperature-taking events where who is willing to put in the fight? If it's kind of one of these, well, it didn't happen, so I didn't have to vote, so then I'm absolved of responsibility. No, kind of taking a role of who is pushing this and is willing to put in the fight for this, and who just wants to, go home by May 31st and enjoy their summer.
Right. So. There's time to do this. There are various ways to do this. As you know, there's you have the budget implementation bill, which they call the BIMP bill, and that bill can have a Hyde Amendment language in it. That bill is used to flesh out and say how is this money to be spent or not spent, and you can't do that in the budget itself, but you can do it in a bill. This budget implementation bill, and they could say, and none of these funds, however they want to phrase it, can be used for the elective abortions.
Do you know who?
And that doesn't take long at all to do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you know who got to Governor Rauner, why he chose to support HB 40?
No, this is, it's almost anecdotal. I just don't know what he was thinking. The information that I had for a couple of months is that Rauner would have mandatorily vetoed it, that he would take out the trigger language. It's called the trigger language in the preamble to the Illinois abortion law, and would have vetoed the language that made House Bill 40 what it is, the taxpayer funding bill. So that was our understanding, certainly over the summer. But then this all changed.
Has there been any effort? Well, you said there was an open letter, so that's to him as well. But any effort to lobby him to provide a path back on this, particularly because this is an issue where he's at odds not just with 90% of Republicans, but he's at odds with the majority of the general electorate too.
Right, right. I haven't. I haven't done that, but I don't have access to him.
All right, he is Ralph Rivera. Ralph, just give us I should say, the kind of the schedule this week in terms of if people want to engage, contact their legislators, and impress upon them the importance of this.
Okay, it's immediately, right now, because they're working on the various budget pieces, and they could have a vote, all of it, on Thursday or Wednesday, or parts of it. So they have to call now. They can call the state operator, 217-782-2000, and when they get the state operator, say, I want to speak to Senator so-and-so or Representative so-and-so, and they'll direct them to them at the state capitol.
All right, he is Ralph Rivera, longtime pro-life, pro-family lobbyist, Illinois Right to Life. Ralph, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you both.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.